Alright, you guys, let's get started. Today we're going to go over variables and expressions. Here, let me put this up so we remember what we're going over here. Hang it up. Variables and expressions. Okay. First, know how to handle a problem. You have to know first what it means. So, first, a defining variable is a symbol such as X used to describe any number. Let me just put this down here so we don't forget our definitions. There we go. And then next we have our expressions. An expression is a sentence with a minimum of two numbers and at least one math operation. Okay. So, first thing I want to do is talk to you about how we're going to write algebraic expressions. But before we really get into that, I want to show you that there's more than one way to go about things when it comes to expressions. You can either do them verbally or you could do them algebraically. So first I'm going to show you, we have here x plus y. There is more than one way to say or write an expression. For example, the sum of x plus y is one way to say this equation. There's also another way in which you can say it as well, which is just x plus y. Every time you read an equation, there's a different way that you can apply it and write it. And a lot of times you see this in math with your word problems and all of those things you get into. You have to know what it's saying in order to be able to solve your problem. So it's always good to take an extra moment to know what you're dealing with. So next, we're going to do an example problem first. Go ahead and get this out of the way. A school is having a fundraiser, so they are having a school dance. Each individual participating is given by the expression 7t plus 3. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to give you 3 different numbers in which you can apply to this expression, and we're going to go through our steps in solving it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to get those written down for us real quick. Seven t plus 3. Go ahead and just get that written down. Go. This put up here. All right. Okay, so here we go. 7t plus 3. First thing first that we're going to want to do is apply our numbers. So I'm going to put them on the left side for you to see, so that way you can write them down as well. First, we'll do t starting off with being 1. Next, we will do t equaling 5. And then last but not least, we will have it go to 10. Get all your numbers written down. It's good to always have them spread apart and written out evenly. So let's go ahead and get to filling in. So 7 times 1. And every single time whenever you have a variable such as this t and you go to filling in for the variable, I think especially when multiplying, it is okay to go ahead and just put that number in the parentheses. Since it's going to be in the expression anyway, you might as well. Plus 3. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do here is multiply your 7 times your 1, which is, of course, everyone knows, 7. And then next we have plus 3. You always just want to drop your remaining down. So that way it helps you see your expression all the way as you go through each step. So 7 plus 3 comes out to 10. Which, of course, 10 equals 10. So there you go. Both sides equaling out tells you that you've got the problem correct. Next, we can start with t equals 5. So 7 times t being 5, so plug in our 5 here, plus 3. Okay, so now we have 7 times 5, which comes out to, anybody? No? Very simple, very simple. After this, after we do our last problem, after the filling in, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a little bit more practicing towards maybe things a little bit heavier, not too hard, but just that way you get more of an understanding of where we're going. There we go. Okay, next we have 10 that we're going to be filling in. Seven times 10, we have 70. Drop your remaining. Horrible looking 3s, terribly sorry. And then we want to put these together, which gives us 73. There we go. All 3 answers come out. Equal on both sides, so you know they're correct. Okay, next thing that we're going to do. So 1 second here. One second, sorry. All right, so here we go. It's important to recognize your clues throughout here whenever you're doing your algebraic expressions. Is to recognize the clue words in a written expression that indicate grouping symbols. So the clue words do not necessarily mean that parentheses are required when translating from English to algebra. For example, sum is listed as a clue word for parentheses. The expression the sum of x plus y is translated as x plus y without parentheses. And that's something I want to get you to notice throughout when doing the problems as well, not just with the algebraically solving them in the expressions. Last thing we're going to get into is going ahead and showing you a variable to an extended power. I'm going to show you how to write those out and get started with those. Okay, so here you have, 1 second. Here you have 7x to the 10th, 5x to the 3rd, and 4x to the 6th. This area right up here where the 10 is at, and the 3 and the 6 is where your power is going to be. First number right here is your solid that's going to be staying with x. This is how many times per that this number here is going to be multiplied against. And just write these out for you real quick. This is what it's going to come out to. One second. Give me 1 second, just sorry there. I want to make sure I get you these written out perfectly to a T. Awesome, here we go. Go ahead and just write these out for you. So say if we were to fill in a number for any of these equations right here, say 7 times 1 to the 10th, what you would do is first take care of the x and the 7, which would be multiplied together, and then multiply that amount each 10 times itself. So we'll write this out here for you and give you some steps. So we're writing out 7 times 1 to the 10th power, which comes out to 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. You can get it all the way until you get up to 10. All the way written out, this is what it comes out to as you entered in your 1 in your parentheses first. And then next comes putting your number, writing, keeping up with writing your power up top here, and then fully writing it out all the amount of times to the power, which is 10. So 7 times all the way across, so you have 10. And then after that, you put it in your calculator to solve, which comes out to, any second, 1 second. Here we go, let's write this down. $282,475,249. Wow. There we go. Oh, messed up a little right here. That's okay though. Again, 282,475,249. There we go. We'll start on our next one. Could have started with those first. They're not as long, not as difficult to write all the way out. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll fill it in with your choice. Let's see. Maybe 2, 3, probably 3. Why not? And then to the third power, don't want to forget our power, which is going to be 5 times 3, which is 15, and to the third, which leaves us with 15 times 15 times 15. Go ahead and get that solved. $3,375. You can see written out here every time. It's going to come down to these 4 steps that you have here, with making sure you have it written out completely. I know the steps aren't always the most fun, but they definitely help you make sure that you get your equation right every time. So let's start with our last one here. And then fill in with x. We can put a 2. And then top off with our power, which is a 6. 4 times 2 is 8, 16. Eight right here to the 6th. There we go. 8 to the 6th. So I'm going to go ahead and get that figured out real quick, and then we can just double check over our steps to make sure everything's all done. Comes out to 262,144. And there we go. And one more time, just filling in. You fill in your numbers. You always have to make sure you don't skip off and do something silly like doing the 2 or this 3 or the 1. It's always good to make sure you don't go straight with the power. You always have to make sure that you multiply these 2 first and then go about with your power. Alrighty, so this concludes our little lesson on variables and expressions, and this should help you remember always not to just think about your expressions being verbally, but also algebraically being expressed, and also the steps in order to go through to take those as well. Thank you so much for watching.